I have been sitting here thinking about this team, and honestly, the disrespect being thrown our way is starting to boil my blood. Today, a new report regarding our secondary just surfaced that could shake up everything we thought we knew about our defensive outlook for the upcoming season. It is fascinating because it touches on the reputation of one of our biggest stars and highlights a major narrative shift that nobody saw coming. The more details emerge, the harder it is to ignore what is actually going on. Smash that like button, subscribe, and drop your city below. Let's get into it. Star cornerback Jaylon Johnson has officially tumbled out of the top 10 cornerback rankings in ESPN's latest annual poll, a development that serves as a sobering reminder of the physical toll endured during our roller coaster 2025 campaign. As one of our most decorated leaders, Johnson arrived in Chicago as a second-round pick and evolved into a two-time Pro Bowler and 2023 second-team All-Pro, becoming the anchor of our defensive secondary. The trouble began during private workouts after OTAs, where a lingering groin injury landed him on the non-football injury list to start training camp. Despite the hope that he would recover quickly, he missed the season opener, barely played in Week 2, and remained sidelined for months before returning in Week 13. While he fought through the pain to contribute to our first playoff run since 2010, the rust was undeniable. For those of us who have cheered for him since his rookie year, watching an elite technician struggle to find his footing was truly heartbreaking. This news hits us hard because Johnson was widely considered a lockdown cornerstone, yet now he is relegated to honorable mention status by anonymous scouts and executives. The frustration stems from knowing exactly what he is capable of when fully healthy. We saw him dominate for years, and to see his reputation tarnished by a soft tissue issue feels like a genuine missed opportunity for our defense. The truth is, at 27 years old, Johnson is still in his athletic prime, and this snub might provide the exact motivation required to reclaim his throne as a premier shutdown force. If he manages to stay healthy through the upcoming training camp under Coach Ben Johnson, we expect him to remind the entire league exactly why he remains the heartbeat of this secondary in the seasons to come. What nobody is talking about is the quiet frustration brewing behind the scenes at Halas Hall regarding how we arrived at this Jaylon Johnson dilemma. The trouble began last summer when a routine private workout resulted in a lingering groin injury that derailed his entire campaign. That soft tissue setback forced him to miss the season opener and limited his output to just a handful of defensive snaps until he finally returned in Week 13. Having signed a lucrative 4-year extension worth $76 million, our front office expects elite production commensurate with that investment. Coaching staff conversations are likely focused on whether Johnson can regain his explosive lateral quickness or if he has lost a step following that extended layoff. History serves as a grim reminder here, as we have seen other star defenders in Chicago struggle to recapture their peak form after soft tissue issues hampered their movement over prolonged periods. The front office knows that championship-caliber defenses require a shutdown presence on the perimeter, and they are currently weighing whether to rely on internal development or seek additional depth. From their perspective, the professional evaluator who deemed him merely an honorable mention in recent polls is just echoing what the team internally fears might be his new reality. Johnson is entering his 7th year and remains on the right side of 30, yet the pressure to prove that his 2025 slide was just an injury-plagued anomaly rather than a permanent decline is mounting. Our coaching staff, led by Ben Johnson, understands that for this team to compete for a title, their top corner must return to the All-Pro form he displayed in 2023. If he can stay healthy during this training camp, he has every opportunity to silence his doubters and reclaim his status as one of the best cover men in the entire league. The real concern here is that a healthy secondary is the heartbeat of this entire championship window, and seeing Jaylon Johnson slip from the elite tier creates a massive void that could define our season. Because the front office invested heavily in the secondary under head coach Ben Johnson, any dip in performance from our star cornerback forces us to rely on unproven depth, which thins our resources and places unnecessary pressure on the salary cap if we are forced to chase mid-season reinforcements. This shift forces us to rethink how we handle high-octane passing attacks in the upcoming schedule, especially when we face tough division rivals and explosive offenses led by coaches like Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, who will surely exploit any perceived weakness in our coverage. If Johnson cannot reclaim his dominant form, our standing in the NFC North becomes precarious, as we need a lockdown presence to stifle opponents and control the clock during high-stakes playoff races. This is where it gets real because without an all-pro caliber leader on the edge, our defensive scheme loses its teeth, making it infinitely harder to secure the stops required for deep postseason runs. Think about it this way. The The league is evolving rapidly with tactical minds like Dan Quinn in Washington and Aaron Glenn in New York setting a new standard for defensive play, so we cannot afford to have our best players lagging behind their past reputations. We need the old Jaylon back, the one who dictated the pace of the game and erased the opponent's primary target every single Sunday. If he uses this snub as motivation to return to his Pro Bowl form, we remain a top contender. But if last year's injury woes linger, the road ahead becomes significantly steeper for our squad. The strongest argument for this sudden dip in prestige is that it provides Jaylon Johnson with the ultimate motivation to prove his critics wrong during a pivotal contract window. When a player of his caliber feels overlooked, the intensity usually skyrockets, and for us as fans, that translates to a secondary that plays with a dangerous chip on its shoulder. Conversely, the obvious risk is that we may have already seen his ceiling, and the recurring soft tissue issues could signal a decline that is difficult to reverse regardless of his work ethic. Around the league, scouts are whispering that while his talent remains undeniable, the durability concerns are starting to outweigh the flashes of greatness he displayed earlier in his career. Some personnel evaluators across the NFL believe his best days might be behind him given the physical toll of his injury-plagued campaign. And I will be real with you, I believe this ranking is the best thing that could happen to our defense this year. While the media loves to write off veterans, Johnson is only 27 and possesses the kind of technical polish that does not simply vanish overnight. If Ben Johnson and his staff can manage his workload through training camp to ensure he enters September at full speed, I fully expect him to remind everyone why he was once considered the league premier lockdown corner. History shows us that elite competitors often thrive when they are forced to climb back up the mountain, and I truly suspect that Johnson will use this perceived snub as the spark to reclaim his spot as one of the best in the business. We need that lockdown presence to take this team to the next level, and this is exactly the kind of adversity that breeds a champion. Looking at the bigger picture, Jaylon Johnson slipping from the top 10 is not just a statistical anomaly. It serves as a wake-up call for this entire franchise as we enter a critical window under Ben Johnson. For our team to sustain the success we found last year, we need our veterans playing at a championship standard. If Jaylon returns to his elite lockdown form, it elevates our entire defensive ceiling, effectively shielding us from the high-powered offenses across the league. As Chicago Bears fans, we should feel optimistic rather than discouraged by this slight because a motivated, overlooked star is often the most dangerous player on the field. Think about it this way, Johnson has already proven he belongs among the league best, and this ranking provides the exact type of external motivation that fuels deep postseason runs. We should be excited to see if he uses this lack of recognition to silence his doubters once and for all when he steps onto the gridiron this fall. It is a perfect opportunity for him to re-establish himself as a cornerstone of our secondary while we push for that next level of greatness. Does Jaylon Johnson reclaiming his status as a top 5 cornerback translate into a deep playoff run for this group this coming season? Please let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. I truly believe that his individual drive will be a major factor in how far this team goes in the winter. If you enjoyed the video, do not forget to like it and subscribe to the channel. Bear down, I will see you in the next one. Until then, keep analyzing the roster depth, watching those crucial training camp reps, and staying ready for kickoff because the upcoming season promises to be absolutely legendary, folks.